Hi everyone, I am Krishna Marie Belleza, and today I would like to discuss to you about the environment, global environment and international relations, tragedy of the commons. The Garrett Hardin's metaphorical story of a village green where all can graze their sheep, but no one is accountable for its upkeep. The unregulated commons is eventually overgrazed and destroyed. Ecosystem, a natural area whose plants, animals, and physical environment are closely interdependent. Each ecosystem has a carrying capacity or limit on the amount of life it can sustain. Population explosion, the crisis that many ecologists point to as the central problem too many people demanding more than the earth can provide. Malthusianism. Author Thomas Malthus suggests in 1798 that the world's population would grow exponentially while its food grew arithmetically, leading to famine and death. Sustainable development, the major theme of the 1992 Earth Summit at Rio de Janeiro, refers to economic growth that does not deplete resources and destroy ecosystems. Environmental driving forces, core values, the fundamental belief structures that influence human attitudes toward ecology. First is the anthropocentrism, sacrificing species to satisfy human wants. Next is the contemporacentrism, it is lack of regard for future generations. The amplifiers. Amplifier is the instrumental means by which human values, behaviors, and possession are extended or expanded. For example, is the population growth impacts of a projected 9 to 14 billion people by 2050. Next is the technology unattended consequences of CFCs. Consumptive behavior. It is the tension between human needs and wants, and its ecological consequences as a function of material wealth. A. Poverty deforestation for fuel wood in developing countries. Next is affluence high per capita consumption of throwaway goods. Political economy. It is the dominant economic structure and ideology used to explain environmental problems. Market failure. It is unpriced cost of acid rain pollution and burning fossil fuels. Failure to have markets is an examples include overfishing as a tragedy of the commons. There are seven major environmental problems. The following seven problems can be plausibly considered to contribute to conflict within and among countries. First environmental problem is the global warming or climate change. Climate change refers to any significant change in measures of climate, such as temperature, precipitation, or wind, lasting for an extended period. Climate change may result from natural factors, such as changes in the sun's intensity or slow changes in the Earth's orbit around the sun. Climate change may result also from natural processes within the climate system. For example, is the changes in ocean circulation. Next is human activities that change the atmosphere's composition and the land surface, such as burning fossil fuels, deforestation, reforestation, urbanization, and desertification. Next is the global warming. Global warming is an average increase in the temperature of the atmosphere near the Earth's surface and in the troposphere, which can contribute to changes in global climate patterns. Global warming can occur from a variety of causes, both natural and human-induced. In common usage, global warming often refers to the warming that can occur as a result of increased emissions of greenhouse gases from human activities. Next environmental problem is the acid deposition or the acid rain. Acid rain or acid deposition is a broad term that includes any form of precipitation with acidic components such as sulfuric or nitric acid that fall to the ground from the atmosphere in wet or dry forms. Next is deforestation or the loss of biodiversity. It is the purposeful clearing of forested land. Throughout history and into modern times, forests have been raised to make space for agriculture and animal grazing and to obtain wood for fuel, manufacturing, and construction. Deforestation has greatly altered landscapes around the world. Degradation of agricultural land or desertification is defined as a change in the soil health status, resulting in a diminished capacity of the ecosystem to provide goods and services for its beneficiaries. Degraded soil have a health status such that they do not provide the normal goods and services of the particular soil in its ecosystem. Overuse and pollution of water is the release of substances into bodies of water that makes water unsafe for human use and disrupts aquatic ecosystems. Water pollution can be caused by a plethora of different contaminants, including toxic waste, petroleum, and disease causing microorganisms. Depletion of fish stocks. Overfishing and illegal fishing threatens the livelihoods of people employed in the industry. It also threatens vulnerable ecosystems and marine animals such as seals, coastal birds, and larger fish that depend on fish as a source of food. Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change. It is a scientific intergovernmental body set up by the World Meteorological Organization and by the United Nations Environment Program in 1988. It is composed of government, scientists, and people. The IPCC is open to all member countries of WMO and UNEP. Indicators of the human influence on the atmosphere during the industrial era. Human and climate. Emissions is greenhouse gases and aerosols, like fossil fuels for personal and industry and the land use. Land use changes is for the agriculture, deforestation, urbanization, and water management and reservoir. The actors in international environmental politics are the nation states, international organizations, multinational corporations, environmental non-governmental organizations, scientific and technical bodies of epistemic communities, and the people. Obstacles to cooperation are the lowest common denominator, slow development and implementation, large numbers, difficulty of making effective treaties, high transaction costs, no pre-existing treaty creation, compliance, or enforcement mechanisms, scientific complexity, issue linkages, and unequal adjustment costs. For the fostering cooperation, Haas, Johan, and Leve argue that the process of creating and implementing effective international environmental policy requires the three C's. First is the concern. Second, controlful environment. And third, capacity. New environmental policy instruments. The non-regulatory tools of environment policy. First is the market-based instrument. It is an instrument that affect estimates of costs of alternative actions open to economic agents. Second is the voluntary agreements. These agreements between industry and public authorities on the achievement of environmental objectives. Next is the eco-labels. It provides consumers with information about the environmental impact of products and services. Climate change policy. A good policy should address long-time horizons and market dynamics, reflect a shared understanding of long-term goals, be flexible. It focuses on mitigation and adaptation strategies, and lastly is to distribute costs equitably. Global environmental governance changes to the system. It increased participation, new actors increase privatization, business partnerships, increased segmentation, subnational, national, regional, and global policy.